Greetings out there, news fans. I'm Nicholas, a.k.a, your roving reporter, here to bring you insight and information on the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else. Today's video is a bit different. Instead of covering the story of some public figure or musician, I've instead decided to cover the story of a local blogger named Ricardo, who also goes by Todd. Many Denverites who walk along the Colfax corridor might remember seeing one of Todd's signs every now and again. He seems to have a sign for every occasion. There's one for 4th of July, one for Thanksgiving, one for Christmas, one for just about everything. Cinco de Mayo, Pride Month, all sorts of times. These signs have captivated the imagination of Denverites. At least I know they've captivated my imagination. And I am clueless as to why no major news outlet has bothered to report on Todd's story. It is a disservice to this city not to pay attention to Ricardo, a.k.a. Todd, and his struggle with online harassment, because I think this story has a lot to say about the modern age, about disability, about demographic shifts, and about the Denver experience. What you're about to watch is a candid interview I took with Todd about his experience with online harassment, about his attempt to spread as many signs throughout the local area as possible, about his attempt to make his story known. And I think by the end of this video, you'll have a much better understanding of what Todd, a.k.a. Ricardo, is all about, and how he contributes an immense deal to Denver's culture and vibrancy as a community. As you'll come to see, Todd is one of the most interesting figures on a local level, and you'll be glad you watched this. Alright, so we're here today with Ricardo, otherwise known as Todd, behind the famous signs that you may have seen all around Broadway, Colfax, etc. There are lots of spots. Okay, so we're going to do a little interview with you here today and get to the bottom of the mystery. Introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and how you came to this point and everything like that.
So who I am is, my name is Ricardo, and I'm actually raised and born in Denver. And I went to a couple high school, maybe some of you might know or not, but I'll tell you anyway. First of all, I went to the middle school. Forgot the name of it, but it was in 2009. Middle school is Kunz Middle School.
Okay.
It's actually in 2009, sorry. And then after that, I went to a high school named Lake Middle School. So actually Lake Middle School and then to the high school at that point. About myself is that I'm usually kind of shy too, but at the same time I don't get shy. I just only read it what I have in my mind, that's why. And what I like to do is usually I like to watch movies, TV shows, and usually I like to have fun and everything.
You're from Denver your entire life?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're autistic, is that correct?
Well, I made myself into a writer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. What genre do you typically engage in your written content?
The what?
What genre do you typically write? Science fiction, romance?
Usually like romance or something, but
okay.
not quite like that.
So, alright.
I'm very creative writing, but usually I don't write like.
Okay. Describe the cyberbullying campaign.
So you mean what happened, or how it happened?
Yeah, how it happened procedurally.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
So the picture that I have it right here is how it happened, the cyberbullying. Basically it's very simple. I guess I was being tricked on one of those kids. They were asking my password and I gave it because they wanted to believe that I can have a lot of followers, so I ended up giving it, but that was in 2019. They think that I needed more, they want to help me, so I did that. They wanted to convince me, and then suddenly, well, after that, that's how they started hacking my password and then making it seems like it's my fault, and then they started reporting my account of original Fox account account. So I told the user, hey, this is not okay. Can you please take it down? And then they were laughing at me and say, I got your account. I started getting mad and then I told him, please stop, please take it down. And then they keep screenshotting every time I keep saying words, and that's why I end up.
So what you mean to say is this account tricked you into giving them your password and then repeatedly harassed you, and you asked them to stop and they wouldn't stop.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
But they escalate the problem that they create. All right.
Yeah, I've been asking very nicely, and even though they're kids, I thought they were being smart for it.
Okay. All right. Most people around Denver have probably seen one of your signs.
Sure.
Where do you typically post? Colfax-ish?
Not always, but usually I post it right there.
Okay.
But some of you might have misunderstanding and tried to take it down, and
I see.
suddenly I've been feeling really down, and not because of this, not because my father's at the nursing home. I haven't been able to find support.
Okay. This is question 3 is, why do you feel the need to express yourself through signs?
That's easy. Because some of the people might have similar experience, and that's why I did it, to express myself. So the more I express, I be able to learn it.
You feel that by putting signs out there, people will take notice and connect with it?
Yeah, because I want to hear their experience, and I want to share mine first, and then I want to listen what they have to share about.
Well, as I see it, the ability to post signs on street poles and electric boxes in the light is a fundamental right of speech. And there are countries like Britain, for instance, where that sort of thing is illegal, and I think I wouldn't want to live in a city where there isn't a good infrastructure of communication facilitated like that. And I think your signs are a pivotal aspect of that. In fact, have you ever heard of the street artist Jean-Michel Basquiat?
I haven't, because I haven't learned about that.
Your work sort of reminds me of his, and it provides Denver with legitimate culture, so your signs are invaluable in creating actual Denver culture that is interesting and thought-provoking, and yeah. Why are your signs often seasonal? How many signs do you have? Like, how many have you made?
Well, before my dad happened, I used to have just 4 seasonal sites: winter, summer, and spring.
Okay. But if I recall, I've seen a 4th of July one, a Thanksgiving one. Most recently, the Pride Month one. That was at a Colfax in Lincoln. So how many signs do you actually have?
My question, yes. I actually have 50 signs, but I haven't posted all at once.
Well, only when the occasion is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any on your phone you'd like to show us?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you've got a folder there.
Okay. And the reason why I'm making a lot of signs is just people keep taking it down, and for the ideas, I'm giving credit to the people, the pet owner, who I always see signs of
People
losing
haven't taken
pets.
it.
I just want to say thank you, because that sign, it actually helps me realize how important it is to you.
So they always come in Spanish and English on both sides?
Some people speak Spanish.
So do you typically post the Spanish side in more Spanish-speaking areas?
That depends on the culture, if they don't celebrate it.
I see. Okay. Any other ones?
Yeah. I just only have it for my father, but usually this is the sign I've been wanting to show.
Okay. In Spanish and English. All right.
And then the reason why, more to be legitimate, I have been going to the bar, but I haven't been worked out to me, so I made it myself like this. I'm trying to be responsible, respectful, being comfortable to follow me.
You cut these corners yourself, these rounded corners?
Yeah, I mean, I just like the design how other people
Right.
use it.
These do display a pretty good grasp of graphic design. They're well balanced. Their layout is aesthetically pleasing.
Thanks.
Something like this, the June is Pride Month poster. What exactly do you connect with or feel about Pride Month that you'd like to communicate to? Say it says Women's Insights reply through this month. What sort of women's insights do you hope to garner from this sign, for instance?
What I was hoping is what do they believe or how the community works, because I haven't been able to, and I wanted to support too.
You don't know much about the LGBTQ community, and this sign is kind of designed to garner some insights on that.
Right.
Okay.
Just want to listen some opinions.
So you usually have a sign for every event through the year, like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
All right.
But mostly the 4th of July highly, because I can show it to you as well. I have it
Sure.
right here.
All right.
So versus the 4th of July last year, that was my watch.
Right, I've seen that.
But this is the one that people should look at.
This is the 4th of July one this year.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July for men and women hosting events. Reply to me by July 4th. I'd love to join in the 4th of July fun. Okay, same layout, but a fireworks background there.
Yeah,
So that one you're looking for like a barbecue or something to go to.
As long as it's free or budget, like when people that's expensive. which
Right.
makes-
Your goal with that sign is for someone to see it and reach out to you and go, hey, I'm hosting a 4th of July barbecue, so on and so forth.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you have any suggestions, like clubs or recognize for free, I recommend reaching out to me by email or by text. as well.
Anyone watching this who wants to give Todd some recommendations as to events, reply in the comments. What are your thoughts on systemic atomization in the modern age? Have you heard this term, atomization?
I have it.
All right. Atomization refers to a phenomena whereby people, despite living in densely populated areas like Denver, say, feel incredibly isolated and a lack of options. This is a systemic process that goes on as a result of numerous factors on a national and international level.
Right.
And I would say, as far as case studies go, I'd say probably thousands of other people in the Denver area, because Denver is a city that doesn't tend to promote its activity too much. It tends to be kind of subtle. It tends to fly under the radar. What are your thoughts on systemic atomization as I've described it to you and defined it for you here?
Based on, well, I can give you like an example or something, but
Okay.
Franklin's, I know how people want to post to like that, and we know that the city doesn't allow that, but I feel like Denver should make its own community available for people who have been harassed or scammed on Craigslist. I think they should be promoted. Because some of you, I have heard about that.
Do you think Denver could benefit from some kind of publicly accessible physical forum where people can post signs and talk about things openly about like scams?
As long as they're
Appropriate, yeah.
just like suggesting feedback, that's all that.
Right. You think that Denver could improve from open communication
Right.
and from less seclusion, just generally from a less inhibited culture?
Right.
All right, I'd say that's a pretty sufficient solution to the conundrum that Denver currently faces. What drives people to engage in online harassment? What do you think the people who've harassed you online get out of it?
What they get out of it is that, well, for the main part, like everyone else they say, is just at people, I guess. But I'm guessing because they're kids, that's why. But they don't live in Denver. Maybe it's because of the Disney character or something like that, that they think adults shouldn't like interest, and maybe that's my thought.
Alright. For a bit of context, I've been through an online harassment campaign. I have autism. About 5 years ago, I was 16 or so, and I was attempting to build a name for myself, build some recognition online. I received a harassment campaign of about 300 people ceaselessly spreading false negative rumors about me, all kinds of things, all kinds of unhinged malicious rumors with no basis in reality. And this lasted about 2 years straight. Generally, my resolve is very strong, and I was about 17 again, very immature. But I shook it off, and how I shook it off is I stopped engaging with the internet, because internet infrastructure is not really designed for communication. It's designed to hold your attention span for as long as possible, and it's not at all good at actually spreading an effective message. Instagram, for instance, isn't a very effective vessel of communication. Its instant message feature is reasonably efficient and convenient, but aside from that, it has very little potency for actually spreading one's ideas. Your signs, for instance, are actually a more effective means of communicating an idea than any Instagram post you could ever make, because they leave an indelible mark in people's minds. When someone sees a sign out in the physical environment, they're more likely to actually think about it. So I would say, generally, the motive for people to harass other people online is boredom. It's not necessarily an age factor. I've seen people who are 15 do it. I've seen people who are 35 do it. But it's a matter of having nothing better to do generally, and to be really easily amused by the smallest things possible. That's what I would say from personal experience, but I definitely don't think it's a matter of your interest in Disney movies or whatever. I don't think that's necessarily a factor. I think
everyone can like different things.
Right. Anyone can like a movie or whatever. I think it's specifically has to do with the infrastructure that you're using to communicate, that they're using to communicate.
And that's not all, sir. I asked Instagram precisely respectful to Instagram staff, and then I told him, look, this needs to be removed. I feel like this is a violation because it has my name and my blog. However, they found Instagram did not remove. I would like to know what are your experience like that, if anyone has gone through like this.
As for me, it wasn't Instagram, it was Reddit, but Reddit was equally useless in actually removing violating material. For instance, there were plenty of accounts that spread false rumors, which is directly against Reddit's TOS.
Right.
There were people that would lie and be deceptive and all kinds of things. And even on a big platform like Instagram, someone can steal your password, your identity, and your account and spread malicious rumors under your name. And Instagram will probably not do anything about it, because Instagram is only interested in its stock and making a profit. And whether or not you have your account, that's sort of irrelevant to them.
Or even if they have my name saying, hey, this is Ricardo Nieves, they don't care about that then?
No, probably not. How do you view relationship culture as it currently exists? A lot of your signs mention that you would like friends or some girl to be a friend. What exactly do you see about current day relationship culture?
Yes, to a girl, but the suggestions to be able to be, for me to be in the same place where girls meet, so that way I understand if the woman goes to events, then they'll be safer for them, and that's why it was.
Okay, I see. So you want to understand the female perspective and the female mindset, and in order to do that, you want to go to events where there are a lot of girls present and kind of get their opinion and feedback on things.
No, I personally just want suggested places where she will usually like to go to meet other guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But nothing like relation, like everyone says. But
okay. What exactly is it that people often say about you and wanting a relationship from these signs that you put up?
they get confused.
They misconstrue them and say that you do want a relationship?
Yeah, it's like saying that, yeah.
You really just want to spend time with people and gender is irrelevant?
No, I just want to look for places where they suggest me.
Oh, okay. All right. You're looking for like public events, large parties and stuff.
Because I can afford it, if it makes sense, because of the, well, not because of the pandemic, but the prices is high and
You're looking for cheap events to get to.
cheaper events or a free events, yeah.
Okay, all right. If I could give you some sort of advice on your approach with these signs, I don't necessarily think that something like this would be the best approach. For instance, if a lesbian sees this poster, they might feel it's a bit culturally appropriative. Now, I'm actually LGBTQ. I'm asexual, which means that I physically do not experience romantic or sexual attraction. But I would say that it would be more effective, not necessarily to take a seasonal approach with Pride Month, but just to say, looking for a free event, looking for like your 4th of July sign. 4th of July parties and barbecues and the like are a great way to meet people and to get free food, free drinks, and just have a great time all around. And there are like dozens of them happening across the city every single year on the 4th of July.
Right.
But I would say that specifically mentioning like the gender of people, or I'm looking to make a female friend, or I get to, whatever, that might be a bit intimidating, and most people don't start relationships with signs. Now again, I'm asexual, so people who are emotionally intelligent, and not all women are emotionally intelligent or mature the same way not all men are. Tell that I'm not looking for a romantic relationship, that I'm only interested in a platonic relationship.
So how can I explain that in person?
Well, I mean, if you're not asexual or aromantic, it can be a little more difficult, because then there is the potential of that. But I would recommend, don't necessarily mention gender. On some of your signs you say stuff like women are feeling or like caring or something like that.
Yeah, that was last year.
Right, but not all women necessarily are. I mean, there might be some girls out there who don't understand you at all, or very immature emotionally, and not necessarily the right fit for you. So I would just generally recommend sort of avoid generalizations based on gender like that, because both genders are extremely diverse and, have a very...
It's because I was afraid that gender won't ever reach out. I thought it was just only guys if I put them just friends.
Only that guys will reach out to you. I see. Okay. I guarantee if you go to more public events, if you find out about more public events and just talk to girls, it's incredibly easy from there.
But how can I ask support, even though that's just Facebook will not, Instagram won't take it down, but maybe some people will have experience how they...
Well, I would say generally Instagram probably won't be your ticket to a long-term platonic relationship or whatever. I would say, like I say, if you can just get to a 4th of July barbecue, see some girl, just say, hi, I'm Ricardo, etc. That'd be a pretty good avenue, because...
But how can I get them to remove it,
Oh, how do you get Instagram to remove this?
Yeah, because I'm happy to start over and be on Instagram again.
Well, I would say this is the best method. Delete your current account, delete it, avoid contact with anyone you were currently in contact with, and take an entirely new approach with a brand new account. Or you might try some alternative type sites, if Instagram's infrastructure really is that bad at facilitating your message and all that.
What I thought is just by people joining with me, I thought they would stand up for each other, speak up.
Like I say, Instagram's infrastructure is legitimately really bad at that, at like facilitating large-scale movements and the like.
But even though if followers would attempt to try, it still be the same.
Yeah, Instagram doesn't necessarily take action even if you have a lot of followers. Why do you believe mainstream media refuses to cover your story? You've spoken about how Westward hasn't gotten back to you. You reached out to Westward a while back.
Yeah. It's because I was wanting to say about my online harassment.
Right, you wanted to let the world know about your experience with the online harassment.
They would have considered it, just they never reach out to me.
Right, typically if they don't take a story, they don't respond to you. For context, I've submitted several stories to Westward over the years, and they generally don't cover local topics unless they're good at drawing in tourism revenue, which isn't necessarily to say I think Westward is the worst local publication, but it definitely isn't the place to go if you want to spread any kind of small-scale message or personal experience or the like. They typically don't do stories like that. What I think it is, and this is the most cynical type approach, is that Westward has a vested interest in presenting Denver in a positive light. So if Westward says, we're a city that completely fails the needs of our autistic populace and, just kind of leaves them in the gutter, that's not exactly an appealing image. That's not a marketable image to the coastal types and people coming into Denver. Denver doesn't want to look like that. So instead it just ignores the problem increasingly, and it just goes on, and nothing of any real substantive value is accomplished. So I would say that's the case, is that Westward not necessarily denies stuff like that, but ignores it for as long as possible until it reaches a breaking point of notability.
Can you give me an example of that?
I would say that Westward does a decent job of covering large stuff, maybe historic or archival stuff. They've done some articles on
Historical.
Yeah, stuff that's from way back, figures that might be forgotten. They do a decent job of that, but in terms of the present day actual physical reality, and capturing that accurately and presenting it with a neutral, unbiased viewpoint, I wouldn't necessarily say Westward is the best at that anymore. Now, truth be told, they were pretty good at it back in the 90s. They seemed to have a pretty good finger on the politics and demographics and the like of the state, but it's been on quite a decline as of late, I tend to have noticed. And I don't think it's the type of publication that would necessarily cover something like your story. It absolutely should. Your story is fascinating, and your case is fascinating, and I think people can learn a lot from it. I don't think Westward has a vested monetary interest in explaining just how awful it is, the scenarios that you get up to like that. And it's not really going to draw any big headlines or eyeballs or anything. If you could say anything to your detractors, what would it be?
What I usually say, have you been harassed too as well? If so, I would like to know, how do you move on or something like that?
More than anything, you're interested in learning about the experiences of other people as comprehensively as possible.
Right.
Right. Studying their lives, their experiences, and applying them to your own existence.
And then those signs, yeah. What I would say is that, do you actually believe I'm a good writer? Because how I write actually came from myself and truth.
Have you tried masking?
I don't know what's that.
Masking is a process by which autistic people can not necessarily learn how to use commonplace body language and communication techniques, but observe and sort of adopt them. For instance, I typically use a lot of body language and language that non-autistic people generally use, and some people wouldn't even know I'm autistic if they didn't spend a long amount of time with me. I wouldn't necessarily say that would be healthy in your case, because it isn't for everyone, but it is possible for long periods of time, particularly when you're around crowds or the like. That can be helpful. If you could say anything to someone potentially in a future friendship, what would it be? So the target of your type posters where you ask for a friendship, what would you say to them as far as that goes?
Like if I would have met a real friend?
Yeah. If you had a good friend who you see regularly, who you talk to a lot, etc.
Usually I would say, hey, if we become friends, does it matter what happened online, or you don't? That's what I usually say.
From my own personal experience, I would say that if you make a really good friend, and if you make a friend especially off the internet who has like stuff going on, and they do stuff, they get out to a lot of public events, they probably won't care too much about your past drama on Instagram. They probably won't even notice it unless you mention it directly, and even then, if you show it to them and explain it, they'll probably side with you because they know you and they don't know your detractors, right? I would say generally, unless someone is really shallow, they won't stop being your friend just because of stuff you've said or done online. If they get to know you in real life up close and talk to you directly, yeah, they won't really mind so much.
That's good to hear, because I was afraid no one would like to be my friend, because whatever happened is the past, but it makes me feel better when I tell it anyway.
What do you hope the world learns from your story? What is it that you hope people go away from this video thinking about and contemplating on and kind of reflecting on? And what can you teach the world from your personal experience?
Well, basically, as simple. So what I can teach about, what I hope from you guys is that to stay out of the internet as well too, because I'm guessing, in my experience, I feel like people should not use anymore internet anymore if they don't have no good support like in Facebook. But I recommend for business as well.
Would you recommend that people use signs more as a means of communication?
I recommend using signs if you had any experience like that kind of harassment, just like me, or if people scam you, something like that. But yeah,
it's important to get your message and ideas out, no matter what.
This is a good idea from the pen owners, people.
Okay, all right. Well, this has been very interesting. I learned a lot, and this has been a fascinating time. And I'm glad to know that you're interested in reaching and facilitating the truth through the means necessary.
And for the reason why I'm using sign is because I'm disabled.
Right. Okay.
I have anxiety, depression, but with those things, this helps me be confident to the people.
It's an outlet for you, and it provides you with confidence.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's important, I would say. It's been a fascinating talk and a very interesting discussion. Learned a lot, and your insight is really invaluable. And I think after seeing this video, a lot of Denverites will probably have a markedly different opinion of you, having seen your face and all. So I think, having heard you out, I think...
I like to understand them.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, it's been a fascinating discussion.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.